The movie today to review is Saw. It's directed by James Wan. His first directorial debut. It was shot in only 18 days, and not only that, the story is pretty damn good. Despite the shitty sequels, the original is really good. And it stars Danny Glover, Carrie Elwes, Monica Pata, and that other guy across the room that can't act for shit. So, this film could have very easily have been gory as fuck, like as far as its theme and title and cover art with the footloose and the cut off hand or whatever, but it's actually more tame than that. It's it cuts away right at the right moments when, you know, it might be a bloody scene when he cuts off his foot. Spoiler alert. But it cuts away and shows you the actor's emotions and pain they're in. And not only that, it's also very thought-provoking. It makes you think all the way to the end. And it has that kind of like that Criminal Minds-esque feel to it with the detectives in it trying to solve the murders and who the killer is. So yeah, given the fact that this film is shot so quickly, considering it's very well done, you know, with its imaginative edits and shots with the, you know, the camera rolling around on the little track down on the floor where it zooms in to the actors' faces and goes back into the front again, and some people might find that annoying, but I think it's really entertaining and different. Well, at the time, it's really fresh. Really creative ideas from James Wan. And even today, he's one of the most respected, most talented directors out there. Even the actors with such a wide range, like the cast in Saw, and other films, you know, like Death Sentence with Kevin Bacon, or the Conjuring, previous Conjuring films with Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, and others. Even they have, you know, hope in his directing, obviously, or else they wouldn't have been in the film. But it's really, people say it's what started torture porn, but really, I think that's more of the third one. The second one kind of goes a little further as far as its gore, but I mean, that's to be expected. Sequels, the blood is always much more labyrinth, so I've heard. But it's really well thought out, and how the story like goes from past to present with the communication between the two people in the bathroom, Dr. Gordon and the other guy, I forgot his name, but anyway, you know what I mean. So it's really a great film, and though it's a little dark lit and some of the things are hard to see, which, I mean, that's realistic. They're in a dark bathroom at part of the time, and it's a gritty horror movie, which I actually claim it to be a thriller more because of the whole psychological twist at the end, and throughout, really, how everyone's intertwined in this game of jigsaws, and not all the writing is good, so it's kind of but I mean, again, the time it took to make it, I mean, hell, that's brilliant considering that, and considering half of the movies it takes a year to make and produce itself, so, which the script was actually written in like 2001 something, and it, eventually in 2004, it got brought out, but still, you know what I mean, for it to be brought up and made and have the actors a part of it, it's really pretty inspiring for filmmaking. And I only hope that with this, I'm not gonna say it compares to it really, but it's the perfect example as what a goodly made horror film with a short time and a budget can do. Just like with Halloween, which again, this is more superior, Halloween is, but given the time frame and the everything, they both set really good examples and standards to other horror and thrillers of what they should be. And for sequels, which they both have shitty sequels, but they both shouldn't have to, be the sequels shouldn't stray away from the original material, which all the sequels in the original Saw franchise, they do focus on the plot basically, and the cops and all that, and it all flows really, but I just don't like all the traps are too deathly in the later sequels, and they show too much blood, and it doesn't do anything for me. It comes off as cheap, and as well as the acting is horrible throughout the other sequels, as well as for some of the Halloween sequels. But yeah. So, anyway, I think this film deserves more credit than it has gotten. I mean, sure, the younger fans like it, but as far as the more older people go, they just think of it as torture porn, which I don't think it is. I've seen way worse than that, which people can argue that it inspired the torture porn, but it doesn't focus all on that. There's more of a story around it, and it's not just, cut off arm, cut off leg, blood. There's what stands out to me as far as for the Jigsaw Killer is that he finds ways for his victims to kill themselves, and sometimes they get away, and he helps them with their struggles. Which is one thing that I do like about the sequel, is that you do get to meet Jigsaw, but aside from that, the story with the cops and Donnie Wahlberg's character, Detective Matthews trying to find his son, I like, but then the whole junkie in the house thing with there being more blood and the stakes being higher, I like to a degree, but the directing isn't as good, I don't think. It's not as solid for me as the original. Yeah, so the first time I saw the film, I was like probably 12 or 13. And it made me sick to my stomach seeing him cut his leg off. That's the first time I've seen something like that in a horror film, really. But it's the shock value that made me sick, really, not so much the blood, because there wasn't much there. And that's really, what's really great about James Wan is that what you might expect for something. It's usually ends up being more like there's more of a twist, or there's more of a certain way he directs things and shots and focuses it on certain things in the films, that he gets really well with horror, or any film really, like, even dramas like Death Sentence and so on. But yeah, and the characters are really thought out pretty well, and it's just a really good film, and one that I will venture into seeing again in the near future. So I hope you liked my review and come back for more. Let the games begin.